January 19th. Today's Bible reading is Genesis chapter 39, from verse 1 to the end. Genesis chapter 40, from verse 1 to the end. Genesis chapter 41, from verse 1 to 16. Matthew chapter 12, from verse 46 to the end. Matthew chapter 13, from verse 1 to 23. Psalms chapter 17, from verse 1 to 15. Proverbs chapter 3, from verse 33 to 35. Reading Genesis chapter 39, verse 1. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him in the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. Verse 2. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. Verse 3. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. Verse 4. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. Verse 5. And it came to pass in the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. Verse 6. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well-favored. Verse 7. And it came to pass after these things, that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph. And she said, Lie with me. Verse 8. But he refused, and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wotteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. Verse 9. There is none greater in this house than I. Neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness, and sin against God? Verse 10. And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her, or to be with her. Verse 11. And it came to pass about this time, that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. Verse 12. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand, and fled, and got him out. Verse 13. And it came to pass, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand, and was fled forth. Verse 14. That she called unto men of her house, and spake unto them, saying, See, he hath brought in Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. Verse 15. And it came to pass, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me, and fled, and got him out. Verse 16. And she laid up his garment by her, until his Lord came home. Verse 17. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, The Hebrew servant, which thou hast brought unto us, came in unto me to mock me. Verse 18. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me, and fled out. Verse 19. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. Verse 20. And Joseph's master took him, and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison. Verse 21. But the Lord was with Joseph, and shewed him mercy, and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. Verse 22. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. Verse 23. The keeper of the prison looked not at anything that was under his hand, because the Lord was with him, and that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper. Genesis chapter 40, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things, that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord the king of Egypt. Verse 2. And Pharaoh was wroth against two of his officers, against the chief of the butlers, and against the chief of the bakers. Verse 3. And he put them in war in the house of the captain of the guard, into the prison, the place where Joseph was bound. Verse 4. And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them, and they continued a season in ward. Verse 5. And they dreamed a dream both of them, each man his dream in one night. each man according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker, the king of Egypt, which were bound in the prison. Verse 6, And Joseph came in unto them in the morning, and looked upon them. And behold, they were sad. Verse 7, And he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the ward of his lord's house, saying, Wherefore look ye so sadly today? Verse 8, And they said unto him, We have dreamed a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me them, I pray you. Verse 9, And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph, and said to him, In my dream, behold, a vine was before me. Verse 10, And in the vine were 3 branches. It was as though it budded, and her blossoms shot forth, and the clusters thereof brought forth ripe grapes. Verse 11, And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. And I took the grapes, and pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. Verse 12, And Joseph said unto him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days. Verse 13, Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee unto thy place. And thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, after the former manner, when thou wast his butler. Verse 14, But think on me when it shall be well with thee, and shew kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me unto Pharaoh, and bring me out of this house. Verse 15, For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing that they should put me into the dungeon. Verse 16, When the chief baker saw that the interpretation was good, he said unto Joseph, I also was in my dream, and behold, I had 3 white baskets on my head. Verse 17, And in the uppermost basket there was of all manner of baked meats for Pharaoh, and the birds did eat them out of the basket upon my head. Verse 18, And Joseph answered and said, This is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Verse 19, Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat thy flesh from off thee. Verse 20, And it came to pass the 3rd day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. Verse 21, And he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. Verse 22, But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them. Verse 23, Yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgat him. Genesis chapter 41, from verse 1 to 16. Verse 1, And it came to pass at the end of 2 full years, that Pharaoh dreamed. And behold, he stood by the river. Verse 2, And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. Verse 3, And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. Verse 4, And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh awoke. Verse 5, And he slept and dreamed the 2nd time. And behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. Verse 6, And behold, 7 thin ears and blasted with the east wind sprung up after them. Verse 7, And the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. Verse 8, And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told him his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. Verse 9, Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. Verse 10, Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. Verse 11, And we dreamed a dream in one night, I and he, we dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. Verse 12, And there was there with us a young man, an Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dreams. To each man according to his dream he did interpret. Verse 13, And it came to pass, as he interpreted to us, so it was me restored unto mine office, and him he hanged. Verse 14, Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And he shaved himself, and changed his raiment, and came in unto Pharaoh. Verse 15, And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee, that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. Verse 16. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. Matthew chapter 12 from verse 46 to 50. Verse 46. While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Verse 47. Then one said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. Verse 48. But he answered and said unto him that told him, Who is my mother, and who are my brethren? Verse 49. And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples, and said, Behold my mother and my brethren. Verse 50. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. Matthew chapter 13, from verse 1 to 23. Verse 1. The same day went Jesus out of the house, and sat by the seaside. Verse 2. And great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore. Verse 3. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. Verse 4. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Verse 5. Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. Verse 6. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. Verse 7. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. Verse 8. But other fell into good ground, and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Verse 9. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Verse 10. And the disciples came, and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? Verse 11. He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Verse 12. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Verse 13. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. Verse 14. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Esaias, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. Verse 15. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Verse 16. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Verse 17. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Verse 18. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. Verse 19. When any one heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received seed by the wayside. Verse 20. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Verse 21. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution are he set because of the word, by and by he is offended. Verse 22. He also that received seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. Verse 23. But he that received seed into good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Psalms chapter 17 from verse 1 to 15. Verse 1. A prayer of David. Hear the right, O Lord, attend unto my cry. Give ear unto my prayer, that goeth not out of feigned lips. Verse 2. Let my sentence come forth from thy presence. Let thine eyes behold the things that are equal. Verse 3. Thou hast proved mine heart. Thou hast visited me in the night. Thou hast tried me, and shalt find nothing. I am purposed that my mouth shall not transgress. Verse 4. concerning the works of men. By the word of thy lips I have kept me from the paths of the destroyer. Verse 5, hold up my goings in thy paths, that my footsteps slip not. Verse 6, I have called upon thee, for thou wilt hear me, O God. Incline thine ear unto me, and hear my speech. Verse 7, shew thy marvelous loving kindness, O thou that savest by thy right hand them which put their trust in thee from those that rise up against them. Verse 8, keep me as the apple of the eye, hide me under the shadow of thy wings. Verse 9, from the wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about. Verse 10, they are enclosed in their own fat. With their mouth they speak proudly. Verse 11, they have now compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth. Verse 12, like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, and as it were a young lion lurking in secret places. Verse 13, arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Verse 14, from men which are thy hand, O Lord, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou feedest with thy treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. Verse 15, as for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness. Proverbs chapter 3, from verse 33 to 35. Verse 33, the curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. Verse 34, surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. Verse 35, the wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. Meditate on what you have heard, and pray that it takes root in your heart and life, that you will do according to all that is written in God's word. Amen. Let's keep walking in the word together. Please like, subscribe, and enable notifications so you're here for the next study.